Let's talk about routine again, but this time with a little more honesty about why it can feel so hard in recovery. One of the biggest shifts that happens when someone stops using is time. A lot of it. Research shows that people in recovery can suddenly have 16 to 18 hours a day that used to be filled with substance use, recovery from use, planning, hiding, or managing consequences. That is an enormous change. And for many people, that unoccupied time is not peaceful. It is the hardest part of the day. Boredom is not just uncomfortable in recovery, it can feel dangerous. Not because boredom itself causes relapse, but because it creates space for anxious thinking, restlessness, and old mental pathways to wake up. For many people, substance use was not only about pleasure, it was a way to numb anxiety and bypass boredom entirely. When that option is gone, the mind does not always know what to do with the quiet. This is where routine stops being about productivity and starts being about safety. Routine is simply a set of reliable patterns in your day. Predictable times for sleep, meals, hygiene, responsibilities, movement, connection, and rest. These patterns give shape to time that might otherwise feel endless or overwhelming. They replace old habits with new ones, not by force, but by repetition. When routine is in place, your brain does not have to constantly ask, "What now?" That matters because decision-making is one of the first things to get strained in recovery. Every decision costs energy. When too many decisions stack up, the nervous system gets tired, and tired systems look for shortcuts. Routine removes unnecessary choices so that your energy can be used where it matters most. This is also how routine supports emotional regulation. Predictability helps the nervous system settle. When your day has a rhythm that you can trust, your body stops staying on high alert. Over time, that rhythm becomes familiar, and familiar starts to feel safe. Routine also builds habits, and habits are how change actually sticks. When people set goals, those goals often feel overwhelming because they are too big or too vague. Habits are simply goals broken into small, repeatable actions. Instead of trying to overhaul your life, you focus on what you can practice today. One way to make habits easier to maintain is to attach them to something that already exists in your routine. If you want to meditate, you might do it after brushing your teeth. If you want to journal, you might do it before bed. Existing routines act as cues, making new habits easier to remember and less effortful to start. Your environment matters too. Visual cues reduce avoidance. If you want to read, keep a book on your nightstand. If you want to stretch, leave your mat where you can see it. These small changes remove friction and lower the threshold for action. Accountability helps as well. Telling someone what you are working on gives the habit more weight. It also gives you permission to acknowledge your effort. Many people in recovery struggle to celebrate progress, especially when it feels small. Sharing your intentions allows others to reflect that progress back to you. Tracking habits can also be surprisingly powerful. A calendar, a journal, or a simple checklist can help you see patterns, notice benefits, and reassess what is working and what is not. Tracking is about awareness, not pressure. And one of the most important practices is doing your future self favors. Preparing today so tomorrow is easier. Laying out clothes, planning meals, setting up a workspace. These actions reduce overwhelm and reinforce a quiet but important message. You matter enough to be prepared for. Of course, no routine works perfectly all the time. Routine is not about doing everything in the morning or following someone else's schedule. Some people function better in the evening. Some have irregular commitments. Finding your routine takes experimentation. Trial and error is a part of the process. Consistency matters more than perfection. Missing a day does not erase progress. Life will sometimes interrupt your routine, and that is not a sign that something is wrong. Flexibility is part of a healthy system. The goal is not control, it's continuity. And then there is boredom. Routine helps manage boredom, but it does not eliminate it entirely, nor should it. Avoiding boredom at all costs can become its own form of avoidance. Once you have coping strategies and safeguards in place, small amounts of boredom can actually be useful. They teach you that boredom is survivable, that you can sit with restlessness without numbing it away. Over time, this builds tolerance for discomfort and strengthens your ability to stay present with your emotions instead of pushing them away. Routine provides the safe backdrop. Boredom in small doses becomes practice. Long term, routine in recovery is not about rigidity or restriction. It is about creating predictability where unpredictability once ruled. It supports your nervous system, reduces stress, and frees up mental space to build a life that feels meaningful. Not all at once, not perfectly, but steadily. One small habit, repeated often enough to change everything.